YouTube family. All right, so today's video is based on, well, you guys may get an idea because of the title, but it's gonna be a video on getting a second opinion, and I'm just gonna share my experience with you guys on when I was pregnant and why you should always seek a second opinion from any doctor. All right, so stay tuned. I'll make you forget about your ex. One race where you don't wanna come from. I know what I am back with another video. This is your girl, Brown Skin Girl. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. So based on the title, you know, we already know. I'm gonna be just speaking about my personal opinion on why you should always seek another opinion when you go see a doctor, because some of these doctors, doctors in general is a practice. So basically you're just like the study, you know, they just studying on you. They're just going based on what you're telling them and they're practicing. All right, so I'm just going to share my experience on when I was pregnant. And I usually go to a doctor. My OB is, well, my original OB is in Orlando, where I had my first child, my first son. And I decided to go, you know, to a doctor and went to Haven, you know, new environment, new area, you know, just, I don't know. I just decided to go there. And first experience when I walked in, I don't want to say the name of them, so I don't want them to go sue me talking about defamation of characters, some crazy stuff like that. But it's in Winter Haven, and I went there first. When I walked in, straight attitude from the front desk people, and just straight attitude, like, where you gonna go? Where do you have insurance? Do you, like, this how they're talking, like, you're pregnant, and when you're pregnant, you're already extra emotional. So I like to be greeted. Hello, are you okay, ma'am? How are you? You know, but do you have insurance? What are you here for? Obviously, I'm here to see an OB. I'm pregnant. So, I mean, that's what I was thinking in my head. But I didn't say it because, you know, I'm a very nice person. So, yeah. So I started to go there, and, you know, just because it was just closer for me to go there. And I went, and it was time for me to do my glucose testing. And I went in for my glucose testing, and I got my result, and they stated that I failed. I'm like, what? You know, I mean, well, how I failed. So they're like, okay, you have to come back and do it the next day. Come back, do it again, failed. Came back, do it again, failed. So they're like, okay, we're going to put you on a glucose watch, where I had to poke my finger and put my blood on a test strip and monitor my glucose every day, at least every time. Before I ate, after I ate, it was just putting a toll on me. So they told me that if I didn't monitor my glucose, I'm gonna have like an obese baby, and I'm just gonna have problems and all type of things going on. And I'm like, it was really scary for me, because I'm like, oh my God, this is my second child. You know, I'm older now, and I don't want to have all these complications. So I really monitored what I ate and how I ate. So with glucose, checking your glucose, they just told me I had glucose, my glucose was high and I need to monitor. There's no really a manual that comes with it. You just have to figure it out yourself to see, like, okay, if I eat this, what my glucose is going to be like. If I eat that. So you got to kind of play around with it. So I played around with it for like weeks to see what I was able to eat and what I was not able to eat. So if I ate this and my glucose was high, I know not to eat that. If I ate that and my glucose, you know, was low or it stayed level, then I'm like, okay, this is okay for me to eat. So I kind of played around with it, and I kind of got the hang of it. And basically, I couldn't even eat nothing, because if I ate a piece of a tuna sandwich, my glucose would go whoo. If I ate a bowl of rice, my glucose will go down. So it was kind of confusion. So I didn't really know. But anywho, that led me to have a very small portion of food that I ate. And I ate very small. I ate a small amount. There's times where after a certain amount of, you're pregnant and you're having craving of certain things. And I couldn't eat my cravings because I knew if I ate my whatever I was craving, there's a high chance of my glucose being high. So I ate to the smallest amount as possible. And that led to complications later on. So when I was explaining this to my other friends and stuff like that, they're like, hey, you need to seek another doctor. So that's what I did. I sought another doctor. So I decided to go to a doctor in Orlando, Dr. Cates in Orlando. That's my girl. I can say it because that facility was awesome. All right. I love you, girl. Dr. Cates, if you're watching this, you did your thing. You did me right. So I decided to switch doctors around. I was 5 months pregnant and I did my 5 months follow-up with Dr. Cates. One, I wanted to seek a second opinion, and two, the attitude from my OB from the Winter Haven location was just sucky, like suck zero. Like it was terrible. I remember I wanted to ask her a question about FMLA paperworks, and I'm here like waiting, I'm to talk to her. And she was in the office like gossiping. Like she saw me standing there. She didn't even care I was standing there. She finished her gossip before she acknowledged that I was standing there. And let me tell you this, you don't ignore me, okay? No. So that was sign number 2. I need to be out of there anyway. So I transferred to Orlando and Dr. Cates. So I ended up going there. So it took a while for the Winter Haven location to transfer my files over to the Orlando area. So Dr. Cates sent me to go do a glucose test. Meanwhile, while she's waiting on the transfer. So I'm 5 months pregnant, go do another glucose test. And you guys all know we got to drink that little nasty thing or whatnot. So do that again. And when I went back for my doctor's appointment, she said, I got your file from your previous, the Winter Haven location, and your glucose was perfect the first test. And I'm like, what? Now think about it. Since I was pregnant, the moment I was pregnant, all the way until 5 months, I've been eating barely nothing because I'm trying to manage my glucose because they told me my glucose was high. So I was small. Like I will post pictures at the end of this video on how I looked when I was 9 months, 8 months, 7 months. Like no one knew I was pregnant. People thought I had a surrogate because I was that small. Like I had zero signs of pregnancy whatsoever because I was so small because I was not eating the right amount because I was eating really small amount. So I go 5 months eating a small amount, and now my body is just like used to now eating a small amount. So to the point where Dr. K scheduled me to do an exam on the baby just to check to see if the baby was okay. Because of COVID, the appointments were like months out. Like they didn't have any appointments until like 2 months later. I'm like, I need to check on my baby. They're like, we're sorry, we don't have any appointments, So I'm okay, I'll wait. So I waited, I had my baby shower, then they scheduled me, and I went up for my exam from the baby. So the doctor came, I did my exam and whatnot. So we're in the waiting room, my husband and I, we're in the waiting room just waiting to our results. At that moment, I already started crying because like I already had a sense of something was wrong. Like I had a sense like, okay, this is not gonna be good. And then when the doctor came in the room, he started talking about himself. He started to introduce himself, and at that moment it clicked. I study psychology, so I already know where he's coming from. Like he's already talking about himself and his kids and his wife, and he's introducing himself and his problems. So what he's trying to do is tell me his problem, so that when he tells me my problem, I don't feel too bad because his problem is worse than my problem. You get what I'm saying? So he is telling me on his problem with his wife and so on and so on. And then he goes on to tell me, you have to have an emergency delivery. And I'm like, what? At this point, I'm already tearing. I'm crying because I already knew when I was waiting, something was wrong. So I already started to get emotional. All these emotions I'm pregnant, okay? So all these emotions are already building up, and I just needed him to say, I just needed to hear it so that those tears can fall out. So then the tears started falling out. He was like, we need to induce you right now. And I'm like, what? Why? He was like, your baby's stomach is really small and he's not getting any food. And we need to get this baby out so he can eat. It's exactly words like he told me, just like that. We need to get this baby out so he can eat. He's not getting any food. And I really didn't want to go through the inducing. I really didn't want to hear that because I was induced for my first son, because I was pre-hypertension. Is that what it's called? Pre-hypertension? I had like high blood pressure. I think it's pre-hyper. I don't know. I ain't no doctor. Okay. So preeclampsia. That's what I was, preeclampsia with my firstborn. So I was induced for 3 days and the pain was unbelievable. I can't speak. Unbelievable. And I didn't want to get induced for this one. So when he told me that, it was really important for me to get this baby out so he can eat. And now that my baby is 6 months, believe it or not, because his stomach is so small, because I wasn't eating properly and I wasn't, for so long, I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I was trying to monitor my glucose for so long that, he wasn't getting the proper nutrient and he wasn't eating good. And I felt so bad as a mother. I was like, wow, like, I can't believe this happened. And, yeah, so I go to the hospital and get induced, and I get induced, and I give birth to a beautiful baby boy. I will post this picture at the end of this video. Beautiful baby boy, and the only thing is that he is 6 months and he does have a small stomach. He's still drinking 4 ounces of milk. Like my cousin of mine's had a baby the same day. He's drinking like 8 ounces of milk, and my baby has not yet drank more than 4 ounces. Sometimes he doesn't even drink 4 ounces. He's drinking 2 ounces. So I mean, that's the only downfall, but he's very healthy. He's hippity hoppity, laughy. He's all type of good stuff. But the only thing is he's have a small stomach. So this is why I am letting you guys know that it's always good to go seek a second opinion doctor, because you don't want to end up like me, or things can get worse. They can tell you, oh, this is the problem, but that's not really the problem, or, And, prior to that happened to me with my son. He has croup, and I had to see multiple doctors because they kept telling me he doesn't have croup. At the time, I didn't know what croup was, but that's a whole nother day. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother video. But guys, if you go with your gut, seek another opinion. Never take the advice of the first doctor. Always go get the second opinion. It's always best. You just never know. Never know. So that's all for my video. Deuce.